I am streaming. Good evening, YouTube. Am I streaming? I have to look at YouTube and see if it... there I am. There I am. Okay, I gotta mute that. So, this has been an interesting exercise. I should probably go back in time just a little bit and explain what's so amazingly interesting about it and what has made it such a major pain in the hiney. It's been a pain in the hiney. Here's why. Way back when I designed this scene, I did it all in Blender, and I mapped this camera move in Blender. It seemed cool at the time. Okay. So then, to add insult to injury, later on I actually was doing some of the inking in Blender too. So anyway, it's a mess. But and I'm going to kill this. But the point is that, okay, this is taking forever to load. But when this loads, I'll be able to show it. But anyway, so I had this shot where she's sleeping. Akari is the girl's name, and she's sleeping. And so what happens is there was this slick camera move that pushed in and revealed this guy over here that was climbing into the room. So why is that a problem, you ask? Well, the reason it's a problem is because that camera move, because it was done in Blender, the camera move was baked into the drawing. So what I had was an image sequence where, I hope you know what baked in means, but basically I didn't do the camera move in OpenTunes. I did the camera move in Blender, so every single drawing is actually showing the camera move. Well, in theory that's fine, but once you actually get into an X sheet that has maybe, just this sub X sheet has probably 15 or 16 levels. It just was really turning into a serious mess. And the significant reason it was a mess is because of the stupid camera move that had the camera move that was baked into the animation, because I've got all these other layers, like the wall in the background, the sky, and all this stuff had to be coordinated and matched up to this baked-in camera move. And so today, I said, forget it. We're going to do what good editors do, which is we're going to find a better way to cut the scene so that the part that's problematic is no longer giving me grief. Because I don't want grief, and you don't want grief either. So, here's what I came up with. The first thing I did was I said, well, let's go ahead and see. She pops her eyes open, and then she sort of wryly looks behind her, like she's about to squint and kind of see something going on, or senses something going on in the background. You see her eyes move there, okay? So the first thing I did was I thought, well, okay, if I'm not going to have the camera move, then I need to give the audience a clue about what's going on. So the first thing I did was this. So you see that in the background? So you see the hand come up and over. Okay. So if I go into this sub X sheet, what I did was and this is kind of one thing I was talking about the other day where it's kind of problematic, because here the hand is behind the wall. So here's the wall, right? So the hand is to the left and it's behind it, but once the hand slaps over, it's no longer behind it. Now it's in front. That's a little bit of a pain too, but it's not like the end of the world. So what I did was I had to split that sequence between two levels so that I basically sandwiched the hand in between, both behind and in front of the wall. So that's why he has purple fingers when that's inked. Obviously his fingers are not going to be purple. They're going to be more like a normal color. So anyway, The actual action that's pertinent here stops at frame 100. So let me jump back up out of that sub-action. You can see I stopped it at frame 100. And I continued it on here after the camera move's complete. Well, the problem with that was a really abrupt cut. I wasn't buying it. So what I did was I said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and insert a new shot, and the new shot is going to be this one. I should probably turn the onion skinning off. And what happens in that shot is this right here, this action. So right now it's just sticks and balls, but it's timed out pretty good. And and I edited it. I edited it, I should say. I animated it. I drew it in such a way so that right when he's starting to push up, it cuts to this shot where he's also pushing up. See? Boom. Boom. Now, you could probably make the case, honestly, and as I'm looking at this, I think this would be, the case should be made, that there is, editorially speaking, there's a scale problem. Okay? So to go from this scale here to this scale here, but then have this be a closer shot like it is probably going to be a bit of an issue. So I think I'm going to go ahead and fix that right now. Let's go ahead and scale this down. And I reserve the right to change my mind about this, but I think, I don't know. Actually, let me change the position as well. If I'm going to do that, I want it to feel, you can just kind of feel if it seems like it's in the same place. See, there he's kind of low in the screen, and here he's kind of high in the screen. So I'm not sure I'm liking that. I'm going to bring him down. I'm actually going to do it like this. So there's a lot more wall in the picture. So let's see what that looks like. Okay, that works. Editorially speaking, that works. So we're going to actually have layers where we'll insert the rock wall that's in some of the other shots that you can see back here. Like that rock wall that they were climbing, we'll go ahead and insert this whole graphic back in there and use it again. So I can go down into it. Now this could have multiple levels, and it's all going to work. So I'm going to go ahead and start here. And what is our task? Our task is to go from sticks and balls to a right proper pencil test. So how are we going to do that? Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the B key and just draw a dot, because what that did was created a keyframe, and that way I can just go ahead and insert my guide here, and I'm not going to have to draw it 17 times. I only have to draw it one time. Okay, which means that the lines, I mean, technically, if you wanted to be technical about it, I could actually erase these lines, but I'm not really worried about that. I just don't want to have to keep redrawing it over and over and over. So that looks pretty good. One other component of this, actually, as long as we're thinking about it, let's go back to here and take a look. So she's way back in the background there. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put the preview to, let's go to half size. No, that's what it is already. So let's go to full size. Just so that I can get a sense of the scale here. I tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and jump this up to the other screen. Ba-dum-ba-dum-dum-dum. Hey Oxer, what's going on, man? Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to this. So the only reason I'm doing this is so I can just get a feeling for the scale of the wall. So he's actually taking up about this much space, which would mean almost where his head is the corner of her bed. That's basically what I wanted to find out. So, okay, that's fine. So we'll jump back away from the away from Vegas. And while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to go ahead and put that back to auto mode. Okay. So that means when his head gets up to here, so roughly right there is where the bedpost is. So let's just mark that. B key. Okay. So if that's the corner of the bed, and I'm not going to say that the perspective here is really like fantastic, but and I reserve the right to change my mind about this. But I think this will work. So this is Akari laying in bed here. I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to do that, but you know, what the heck. So there's actually what I was kind of looking for earlier. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and correct for that now. If this was really happening, the floor would be something like this. Okay, let's just say it'd probably be something like that. And I think that our perspective, our horizon line would be something like that. So if that was the case, then the bed would have a little bit more exaggerated perspective. So I've definitely been a little sloppy on my perspective earlier in this adventure. And frankly, from what I can see right now, I don't think I am buying the scale of the bed either. So what I'm going to, oops, that's not what I meant to do. I want to hit the S key. So I'm just going to grab the bed and say, let's just kind of shrink that baby down. Okay. I like it. All right, so now I can go here. Let's just make sure that this action, yeah, that's kind of happening the way we want it to. And remember, we can always move her. And frankly, we could reframe this whole shot, but the main thing we want to focus on right now is this action. Let's get this thing blocked in. Okay, so just going back here now and looking at the continuity, what we see is, let's click here, and then I'll just hit Control Shift and scrub my mouse wheel. So she sees the hand, or she doesn't see it, but she senses it, and then it jumps to this shot, and then boom, there he is coming in. So now we've eliminated the stupid baked-in Blender camera move, which I profoundly regret ever having done in the first place. Alright, so here we go. I'm having one of my gin martinis tonight. This is not extra dirty. Normally it'd be extra dirty because I would be putting in a fair helping of olive juice. No ice. Don't like it on the rocks. But this one's actually got 4 olives in it. So instead of putting the juice, because basically I've used up the juice in the jar of olives, I added extra olives. So those of you who are martini aficionados are probably horrified by my martini preference. But okay, so what would happen here is essentially his hands would be kind of I can see his thumbs would be kind of clenched in, and this is actually the stuff I like doing because, you know, I have this crazy conceit that I actually can draw, and it's fun to draw. So okay, so what would this be? I gotta just kind of feel it, man. Gotta feel it. We've got the sticks and balls, and this is the bald one, so he's got like a headband thing going on back here. His ears would be kind of sort of like that. You know, the past couple days, while I haven't been animating quite as much, I've been doing a little bit of painting. So on Facebook, you can see what I've been painting. I did a Robin Williams, and then I did a Faye Dunaway, but it didn't really work. I didn't really think I did that great of a job, and then I did a Faye Dunaway that spot on, nailed that baby. Well, she was a gorgeous actress back in the day. She was hilarious in The Legend of Little Big Man. That was just I thought that movie was pretty funny. Dustin Hoffman. So anyway, we're gonna animate. Okay, so now the question becomes, should we try to leverage all of our laborious effort drawing these hands? And I'm going to say, yeah, why not? So we're going to grab his hands, hit Control C, go here, need to hit the S key again, Control V. His hands do feel like they're a little bit slightly large. So I think what I'll do is, since I'm using the S key right now and just having all kinds of fun doing so, I'm going to go ahead and make them a little smaller. And then I'll jump back to the other shot and do the same. So, okay. And actually what I could do is just do the same thing I did before. In reverse, Control C, jump back here. Let's do a little erasey poo. S key, Control V. Okay, cool. Alright, now we're back to work. We are now doing what we were born to do, people. We were born to animate. What, Raquel, yeah, Raquel Welch. She was pretty too. Now, if I had a pick, I'd go for Faye Dunaway. That's me. It's all taste, but I remember seeing Raquel in when I was a kid. The 4 o'clock movie would come on Channel 5 back when we had these crazy things called channels, and the 4 o'clock afternoon movie would come on after school, and they would have like a Raquel Welch week or a Jerry Lewis week or a Planet of the Apes week, you know, that kind of thing. And I remember, I think it was called 1 Million Years BC with Raquel, and of course she was quite scantily clad in that movie, and because she was a cave woman, and man, did I like that movie. Now it's all in good fun. Okay, so he's got these wraps on his arms, so we need to make sure we get those in there. Okay, and see, with stuff like this, I don't really like to use onion skinning. I'd rather just do this. Just go through and feel it. Like so. I like that. Okay. Now we don't want to have any scale issues, so that's why I jump back and forth fairly frequently. Is scale issues meaning it would be really easy to accidentally draw his head, you know, not really quite the same size or shape for that matter. It's actually, you'd be surprised how hard it is to draw a character over and over and not have their look change over time. I mean, you really need to know the character to not screw it up. Is this correct? I want to double check here. This guy. Yeah, he's also got the thing behind his, I mean, I guess he's really got a thing like this as well, because that's like the mask he's wearing. Okay, so now this is, the tricky part of this is capturing the physicality of his effort, you know. That's actually the trick of it, but that's also the fun of it. This is the thing about animation that's actually fun for me. And it would be my conceit to say that it's probably the aspect of animation that I'm the best at as far as talent goes. So I make a distinction between talent and skill. Skill is your craft that you develop over time as you learn techniques, and your talent, that's what you're born with. So my talent would be, you know, real, probably Disney style animation. I seem to have a knack for you know, capturing the actual kinetics, you might say, of the human body. Or, I mean, I guess it might be a funny animal body too if that's what I was doing, but I'm not. So That's feeling pretty good. So what you doing tonight, Oxer? You working on your comic book thing? You still out there? Doing the blender stuff? Okay, so at this point, this wrap here would probably become visible. Okay. Okay, boom, boom. Okay, I actually should cut and paste still on this shot because, mainly because when I ink it, without a doubt, I'll be cutting and pasting it, so it's kind of stupid to keep trying to draw it for no good reason. So now it may change a little bit here. You know, the shape might change a little bit, but so you'll probably find it. But the thing is, he would draw this dinosaur and all the backgrounds, and if I'm not mistaken, I think he redrew the background for every single frame because they didn't have the technology for like multi-plane animation. I think he actually did that one on paper, but then it was composited optically because this is like 1902 or something. This is a long time ago. Kind of warm here. Yeah, it is here too. You're Chicago, right? Yeah, I know. Fort Wayne's the same. It's been really balmy today, balmy and humid. So, which is great. I mean, let's enjoy it while we can. So I'm telling all the people that aren't actually watching. So I'm telling this story for the people that are going to watch this video later. Maybe watch the live stream playlist or something like that. Okay, so now this is where it gets a little interesting. I can probably do his hand rather simplified, but this is going to be important. We got to get this. Like I said, the kinetics, the twists and you know the weight. In some respects, they might not be as impressed, just because it is crude in some ways. But man, the amount of work that guy had to do that was just insane. I think that's what you said, insane. Yeah, which was insane. Over 100 years ago. It's amazing. Just over 100 years ago. Yep, Winsor McCay, Iworks, was kind of an amazing guy. Not the greatest animator, but he worked for Disney and left for a while, and then came back. And when he came back, instead of being an animator, he was doing like just special technology. I think maybe he developed the multi-plane camera, as a matter of fact. Well, a book that everyone should read if they're into animation would be Illusion of Life. I actually got that book when I was in high school. I had to order it. I had gotten it at the library. And I liked it so much. And there really weren't a lot of books at that time that were about animation anyway, you know. So I ordered a copy. It cost like, I don't know, back then, getting the anatomy to the quality it really should be. So let's go ahead and boom boom. Okay, yeah, that's not too bad. Boom boom. Iworks, Winsor McCay, those guys. That was a whole different time, man. So today, we got the technology, but You guys, if you watch this channel much, you know I tend to complain about the tools I've toyed around with creating animation software just because, like, man, maybe I should just roll my own. But for the most part, I'm pretty happy with OpenTunes. I thought I had it, but I may still get it. Well, gosh, you guys must have an amazing, hey, Rose. You guys must have an amazing library in Chicago, though. I mean, you could just, if you haven't read it, I mean, you can always get it at the library. I do that all the time. I hop on my bike. Fort Wayne's got a very good library, and, you know, probably once a week, certainly during the warm weather months, I'll just hop on my bike and go downtown and... I'm kidding. All right. Yeah, I'll show you what's going on, Rose. What's going on is I was not happy with this. The camera move was not working because of the animation that was baked into the image sequence. So I decided that I would just do it as a series of cuts. So I animated his hand in there. So his hand comes up over, and then it cuts to this shot I'm working on right now. And then it goes back to this after the camera move was over. So that's basically why we are where we're at today. Which is all kinds of fun because it means I get to go in and do some good old-fashioned animation. Which is kind of the whole point, right? Actually, it's not the point. The point is to tell a story. Animation is merely the medium by which we're telling the story. So the more interesting, think it. Most of the time, it winds up better. You know, you wind up saying, "Well, these are the only shots I have," and then you sort of tinker around with it and find a way. Okay, that looks pretty good. It feels like the weight is there on his. The weight is on his palm. Okay, that's not too bad. Okay, so let's just draw through. This is what John Buscema. Oxer, you know who John Buscema is, right? He was like my total hero. I mean, pretty much him and Frazetta were those were the guys. Man, I was always drawing like Conan and stuff when I was in high school. That's what I was gonna do. Actually, I was gonna draw comic books for a living. That's what I wanted to do. Now, whether I would have succeeded at it, I don't know. But what happened was I got late in high school. I got the music bug, and so then I wanted to do the recording studio thing, and so then I just basically wound up chasing that rabbit for a while, and then that sort of culminated in. When I've done movies, I go ahead and score them myself, which is kind of... It's actually... I've joked to people that I make movies so that I can score them, and there's actually a lot of truth to that because of the scoring part. Even though I don't actually think I'm that great at it. The airbrush... Yeah, going out super bad. It figures. Yeah, Rose, I wish it wouldn't do that, but it does, and I don't have a good alternative solution for live streaming yet. If you guys have some ideas of live streaming software that maybe does a better job than OBS, I would certainly look at it. Okay, so this is actually looking kind of stupid. I got to backpedal just a little bit here. I need to feel this. Okay, let's look at... Okay. Okay, and this right here is the problem. Airbrush and fine art painting style comic. Now, To tell you the truth, that's not my. I mean, I grew up in the days of newsprint comics, and frankly, I miss it. I think back in the 90s when they started doing higher quality printing, it kind of ruined comics for me, actually. So by the time Todd McFarlane um, and Jim Lee came around, I was long gone. I was checked out on comic books. I still have actually in my office the episode. I've quite a few not super valuable comics, but like I've got the original Frank Miller Wolverine miniseries. I have all four of those, and also Frank Miller actually the classic episode or issue of Daredevil where um, Bullseye kills Elektra. That's a that was an intense comic book. So I gotta tell you, this is actually in a way it's kind of embarrassing because there's times when I'm doing this stuff where I know the anatomy isn't quite where it needs to be, but I'm also always bearing in mind that this is going by really fast. See, it feels good, so I don't want to belabor it too much. But see, you'll notice this shot right here goes for 4 frames instead of 2. Well, these two went 3, but um, so I really want to be a little more meticulous on this frame. This is how when I'm doing the portraiture, I should show Rose this. She might think it's cool. Um, Give me half a second here. I was pulling up my Facebook page and showing Oxer the portraiture work I've been doing this week. I've been really having a lot of fun. That's Robin Williams, and that's a failed version of Faye Dunaway, and that's a good version of Faye Dunaway. So, but this, I love this. This boxy, blocky, loose, impressionistic style, I think is just the coolest thing. So, yeah, maybe. Maybe a capture card. Hmm. You mean for streaming, right? That's what you're talking about. Like maybe something from Black Magic Design or something. They make good equipment. I just haven't gone there. I mean, when I started live streaming, I really wasn't trying to build a channel or anything. I guess technically I'm still not. I'm just doing on YouTube what I would want to see. I would have a lot of fun watching someone do what I'm doing here, and I looked for it and I couldn't find it. I don't know of anyone else who's doing it. So if you guys know of someone, I don't know about that, Rose. I don't know if I do. I think color's my weakest area, actually. Um, I mean, those paintings they're basically monochromatic. They're really just varying levels of brightness of a single color for the most part, and then I'll go in and tint it a little bit. But like the gradient in the background, I just added that after the fact to just give it some sense of composition or whatever. But no, I definitely do not consider myself to be particularly talented with color at all. Even in filmmaking, I struggle with color correction. I'll get the whole movie looking like I'm like, yeah, it looks great, and then 3 days later, I'm like, I want a completely different look. I'm not happy with it. Isn't that right, Valerie? Well, I'm glad you have fun, Rose, because I'm having fun too. No, it's kind of cool when people, um, like you, being in. Now you said you're from Jamaica, but are you in Jamaica or are you just from Jamaica, but you're in the USA? It's pretty cool when people can like hop in and hang out, you know, from all over the world. I think that's really a cool thing. Yeah, that's working. That's working. See this now, what I was talking about, the choppiness of it, this is what I'm talking about. When I'm doing a portrait thing, I do a lot of stuff like this. I'm just drawing one little tiny line because I can see the character. When I do it that way, I see the character in my head. I know what it's going to be, and I know if it's going to work. If I try to do more like I did here, where I'm drawing the curves of the anatomy, it really doesn't look as good. I mean, it's not. Okay, so you are in Jamaica. Yeah, that's super cool that you can hang out and be in Jamaica. I mean, it's just an amazing thing. It's like my son, you know, he's playing Fortnite or whatever games he's playing, and he can just connect with anyone anywhere and play along, you know. I think it's a super cool thing. Okay, that's working. Definitely. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. So now this one's gonna go by quick again. So let me just do kind of the sticks and balls thing and make sure I've got his elbow, forearm, kind of where they. Okay, I want to get that curvature. Yeah. So, you know, if the channel gets popular, then of course it gets more difficult. But I don't know. Like I said, this channel probably won't get. I've picked up a lot of subscribers since I started doing animation stuff, but you know, it's still less than 1,000, and it's not like. I mean, if you want to monetize a YouTube channel, like if I wanted to turn this into some kind of money thing, you know, you'd have to have, gosh, hundreds of thousands of subscribers. What I am interested in doing is, as we finally get this anime, you know, to a more professional state, because, you know, most of the last several months have been spent just working out the workflow bugs, you know, fighting with OpenTunes and fighting with Krita and fighting with Blender to figure out how are we going to even do this, you know. So okay, that's not too bad. Need to have that hoodie thing there. Okay, so we just might as well sort of copy that. Mm-hmm. Boom. Okay, there is one thing I'm a little concerned about. His chest, right here, feels like it's getting bigger. That's what I was saying. It's the same, you know, like with faces and stuff. It's really easy to find yourself letting your character change. And what seems to help me the most is drawing straight lines. Just straight lines. Just get the. If the straight lines are correct, the whole thing looks correct. So, yeah, that's better. Yeah, he was getting a little too fat there. So he's like putting on weight while we animate, which is generally bad policy. You don't want to have your character growing fat. Not that there's anything wrong with being fat. Okay. Okay, that's better. And this is actually, this length here is a little longer, but I think that's okay, because if he stretches like that, it would actually, you know, his clothing would get stretched out a little bit. So you can see this distance here is boop, boop, boop. Okay. So he's putting his weight on his hand. Okay, I kind of feel like maybe we ought to see a little more shoulder action right here. Okay, and then he's kind of crunching together. Okay, this is going to be problematic when I go to ink this. If I don't clean this up, one of the dangers is that the sketchiness of it, you sort of can get away with murder in a pencil test, is the truth. You can really get away with murder. And so sometimes you need to like make sure that you're specific about what you're trying to draw, because otherwise you go to ink it and it's like, okay, well, what was I doing? Or worse, you get chatter like between this shot and this shot. Well, that one's not so bad, but yeah, that's probably going to chatter more than it should. I'm going to try to clean that up a bit. Okay, so and the way I clean it up is I just want to follow the lines. Let the lines. It's like if one little line and if two little lines each go to where they're supposed to go, then the whole body is going where it's supposed to go. So, you know, it's like you sort of break it down the pieces. There's a little bit of an anatomical glitch right there because basically his arm got shorter, didn't it? Well, yes and no. Actually, now that I look at it, what's really going on here is you're going to have this crunch here, and then here, this is wrong. What's really supposed to be happening is it's supposed to be like that, because his elbow is coming around, right? Okay, so here it's kind of sideways. I don't like that. That doesn't look right to me. It would really be, I think it would be sort of crunched together. And again, it does go by pretty fast. I could see him. Yeah, there's a problem. There's a problem right there. He couldn't do that. That's physically impossible. He cannot have his hand move. So, here's how we're going to fix it. We're going to grab this, Control C, go to the next frame, erase this, hit the S key, Control V. Okay, so you can definitely see the problem. Now, we could turn it a little. Oops. We could turn it a bit, but this needs to go to here. Yeah, that's making more sense. So let's just check it with this. Yeah, that works. So this line goes. Crap. So, hey, Halber. You're from Brazil. That's cool. Yeah, you're not too late. We've got our late night 4-olive martini, and we're animating. I've got a friend from Brazil here now. Okay. So, yeah, that's cool. We love having visitors from, you know, all over the place. Okay, so there's the elbow. There's the elbow. Okay, so we got this continuity of the elbow. So look at that. So therefore, it should be about there, right? Okay, so now that becomes a guide. All right. So now there's a little volume on the. Well, let's put it this way. If the elbow's got that much size to it, then really, something like that. So that's going to puff out a little bit, but then this has got to come in. So, boom. All right, so let's see. Yeah, that's better. I think that's better. Okay. It's just getting this arm to turn around is a wacky move, man. I mean, it's definitely a tricky move. I think we're okay. I think it goes by fast enough. Let's go ahead and loop it and see what we've got. Oops. Sorry. The loop range is from the old, from the scene I was in before, or the shot. So I need to set auto markers. So if you select any level, like if I select that level and set auto markers, it'll set the marker, the playback range, to whatever that level is. So yeah, I mean, that's fine. That's fine. That one frame I was not liking, that's going to go by pretty fast. So yeah, I like it. Looks good. Okay, so now let's go. We're losing a little bit of volume. Yes, he's a little more barrel chested before that, and he is the leader. He's kind of the beefier guy, so I think we want to let his costume, whatever you call a ninja costume, because I actually don't know what a ninja costume is called, but let it billow out a little bit. Okay, so now what he basically does is he gets his bearings, and that needs a little more bicep, and then push, push, push. Okay, and that way when we come up out of there, he's going to push, and it'll cut to this shot, so it'll basically be like that. So that's pretty good continuity. I'm pretty happy with that. It's not perfectly perfect, but it's pretty good. Okay. So, alright, so now I'm going to hit the B key and on to the next frame, right? Okay, so there is no way this hand or this hand could possibly become... those hands can't move. So even though the sketch kind of shows them floating a little bit, you can't have that. So what we've got to do is, let's hit the S key. Hello? S key? S key. So what I'm going to do is grab this, go to the next frame, and just paste it in. Go to the last frame, hit the S key, grab that, Control C, next frame, paste it in. Because at least then I'm keeping my bearings. At least I know he's going to be anchored in the same spot, right? Okay, so B key. Okay, so what is happening here? As he pushes up, his elbows are forced out, right? Okay. His elbows are forced out. And frankly, the first move he makes is going to be more of the elbows coming out than anything, because his body really doesn't go up yet. So that means that this stuff isn't going to move too much. Little bit, but not much, because this is all about getting this elbow here needs to come out to there, like that. You can even see it. Just making that one little mark shows you. Okay, it's being forced out so that he can get the leverage to push up, right? Okay, so now let's make it simple. If we know that that's where the anchor points are, then let's go ahead and draw a quick guideline here. His shoulders, let's just do sticks and balls. Let's say the shoulders here, shoulder, shoulder. Okay, and let's follow this through, just because it's less guessing later. You know, you don't want to try to create finished art and then find out that you know, that you drew it in the wrong place or whatever. Now, so this is a really interesting move, because when he goes to here, so there's his, you know, his elbow, or I'm sorry, his shoulder joints. When he goes to here, what's actually happening is this arm that was pushed out is now actually coming back again. So the foreshortening would be something like that. So it's a very, you know, physically interesting move to make. Now, to stick with what I was saying earlier, I'm going to go ahead and Control V, Control V. I'm going to insist. I'm going to go out like that. Here, that's an important. And he's moving fast. I mean, that's only 2 frames, so you could maybe make the case that his weight would that he's really not supporting his weight very well right there. But does it feel good? You know, does it look right? I think it does. So we're going to foreshorten that a little bit there. So since the forearms are pretty much just cylinders, let's just go ahead and block them in. In other words, they don't have a lot of curvature to them. They don't have a lot of thick musculature or anything. They're fairly solid in the way they're going to animate. So now what I'm doing is I'm just getting that top of the back of his arm, actually. Okay, so this is in front, but now it sort of splits out again. That looks all right. And it really pushes out, so you would actually see a little bicep action there. Gosh, this is actually a really challenging bit of anatomical shenanigans. Nobody's saying much. Okay. Did we get that right? I think we got that right. Okay. So now it's going to start stretching out. Okay, and that's actually the end of the cut, so a little bit of cloth action going on here, a little bicep action there. Okay, boom. So we got this area that would probably sort of flatten out there. And we got this coming up. Okay, line. Feels good. Line. Sorry, I am correcting something. Don't be sorry, Rose. It's cool. We're all just friends here. We're just hanging out. You can correct something if you want. Or you can choose not to correct it if you prefer. See how easygoing this YouTube channel is. Alright. Getting ready for action here. Pushing up. Let's get the top of his head. I don't like that one. I'm getting sloppy. I'm hurrying. Well, you know, the thing about it is, I tell you the real reason I started doing this YouTube channel was because I said, if I'm going to do this anime thing, I'm going to put myself in the position to fail publicly. I'm like, if I'm going to do it, I'm just going to put myself out there, and I don't care if I completely screw it up, because man, for so much of my creative career, I've really just been able to work in my little dungeon, you know, and you know, it's a very, I don't know, like filmmaking is a very solitary process. Actually, I mean, you write a script, it's all you know, it's just you and the computer. Okay, so I gotta get this up here. Oh, I see. Our frame's not big enough. Now, if I remember correctly, is it X sheet? Somebody help me out. What is the... Ah, canvas size. I remember there was a bug with that too. So it's grayed out. I can't remember what the catch was. Up there it is. You have to click on the X sheet. Then you can do canvas size. So what we need to do is we really don't need to make it wider, but I do need to make it taller. So I'm just gonna, just for lack of a better idea, I'm gonna make it 2500. Okay. So that allows me to instantly have more drawing real estate. Okay. Oops. Sorry about that. So now when he pops up, his head won't get cut off. I mean, it probably wasn't necessary for this just one frame, but okay. So I'm feeling like that's feeling pretty good. Okay, let's go into the main X sheet and let's just see how it's feeling. Alright, so we're going to go up here. We'll start it a little earlier. Actually, we can go ahead and go to the top. Alright, so what is it? Okay, so Akari knows there's something up and a hand pops up and then we go to this shot. Okay, so that's cool. That's working. I'm going to actually jump way ahead. Let me see. Oh yeah, we have a bunch of sub X sheets here, so I'm going to go down to here, set my stop marker so I can watch the whole thing. Rewind. Alright. Loop, baby. Let's see what we have. Hand pops up. Okay, and then that guy's flopping around. He's struggling to get in. And then, okay, so not too horrible. That shot is obviously held too long. And this shot, the main point here is that you're going to see this character kind of going like this, sort of struggling to get his bearings. And then he knocks the vase. So that's that, and then when it goes back to the, what happens after that is this, and then he realizes that Akari is behind him with a knife stuck in his back, which is not fun. We don't like having knives stuck in our. Don't do that at home. Don't actually stick a knife in someone's back. That's very rude. However, the good news is, I think that there's a couple details we need to make sure we fill in here, but I think we're in good shape. How long have we been live streaming? Oh man, over an hour. Okay. Zoom, zoom. Okay, that's too far. B key. Okay, so we've got to put his. Okay, why is this not drawing? I think OpenTunes is acting stupid. Yep. OpenTunes is acting funny. Because if I switch to another, yeah, that means I have to restart OpenTunes. Sometimes it does that. The mark or the brushes just quit working. What can you say? They just quit working. That's the bad news. But the good news is you reopen OpenTunes and they work again. So, and it doesn't happen that. I mean, this is the first time it's happened today. So. We shan't complain. No, 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 we shan't complain at all. No, we'll just go down into the sub-X sheet. Let us play. Okay, so now we need a brush. And we're zooming in. And yep, see now it works again. So we got to have that wrap there. And now I'm just basically tightening up the details. The main thing is I wanted to make sure that I was satisfied with the animation. Yeah. Hey, baby. Okay, I think we got her. Let's do an auto markers. See if it feels good. Yep. I'm satisfied. I guess he's got his headband missing here. B. Let's make sure we're on the right frame so it doesn't create an extra keyframe that we didn't want. Okay. Yep, same thing here. Okay, so boom. Boom. Okay, he's got the wrap. Missing anything? I don't think I am. Okay. So I guess since I changed the scale of the drawing a little bit, I should probably... Okay, so this is definitely a problem. Hold on. This is bad. Yeah, see, I like that width right there. He's a reasonably lean looking dude. And he looked a little tubby in that shot right there. So, let's fix it. We'll just fix it. Okay. Are we done? I think we're done. Now we got to go to ink, which I'm not going to do tonight. I'm definitely going to quit. I feel like this has been a job well done because, you know, this camera move that was baked in was really giving me grief. If you're interested, I'll show you what it had been. Well, okay, I'm sorry. I actually guess I cut the sequence out. This is what it was going to be. Yeah, it's all screwed up. This has been changed quite a few times at this point. So, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and look at the whole thing through, and then I think if everything's reasonably satisfactory, I'm going to call it a night. So, where is it? 378. Set the stop marker. Rewind. Actually, let's look at it rendered. We're going to hit Control R. When you hit Control R, OpenTunes really renders fast. You can see it's caching the whole thing in memory, so which is cool because then if it looked good, I could go ahead and save out the images and call it final. But okay, so let's loop. We got to shorten that cut. Yeah, actually, this is hard to look at. Oh, this part's cool, rendered, but the rest of it looks better in rough form. I probably needed to actually just have him stand up. Go ahead and draw a few more frames and let him stand up. But basically, folks, I think we're in good shape. So with that, Inio-san, hey man, haven't seen you in a while. I don't ever use the horizontal timeline. I mean, when I edit video, like in Vegas, it's all a horizontal timeline. And if I do music in Reaper, it's a horizontal timeline. I just got used to the X sheet in OpenTunes, and when I tried the horizontal, it didn't help a bit. Yeah, I noticed your comment there now, Oxer, about Aaron Blaze. Yeah, I think I've subscribed to his channel. He's definitely a TV Paint guy. Now, honestly, I don't like TV Paint as well. TV Paint, the good thing about TV Paint is it's kind of like the My Paint brushes in OpenTunes. The visceral, what is the word I'm looking for? The responsiveness of the drawing in TV Paint is really pretty good. But some of the stuff like, you know, camera moves and the animate tool and the plastic tool that I am starting to take for granted in OpenTunes. TV Paint can do all those things, but it does it in kind of a way that I find somewhat clunky. So for that reason, if TV Paint was really the bomb, I'd pay the $1,000 and buy it because it is a pretty solid piece of software. And I've played with it because I have a crack of it, but I never use it. I basically I've tried it. I'm like, I don't think that's the software for me. So anyway, I think we're done for tonight. So anyway, thanks Enio-san. I appreciate that. I I had to get rid of the camera move because I had rendered the camera move out of Blender, and so the whole camera move was baked into the image sequence, and it was so hard to work with it. Dealing with creating the shadows and making all the other camera moves match. Because this scene, I mean, in 3D, there is a camera move. I think this shot has a camera move in it. So anyway, so that's it for tonight. Thanks for hanging out, guys, and I'm sure we'll do it again real soon. All right. Adios.